in Bakersfield, California. This is the Renegade Report.
But every time I hear it, that never gets old. That is the Renegade fight song, and this is the Renegade Report, the only show dedicated to the greatest single junior college athletic department in the known universe, BC Athletics. And today we're talking to the coaches of one of our hottest teams. I think our hottest team, Coach Rich Hughes. You are from the Renegade basketball team, and things are going pretty well thus far in the season for you.
Yeah, 12-3 is a good start. 1-0 in conference from last night, so you know we're playing pretty well. Got a ways to go, but we're can't complain.
Now let's jump on last night's game, and then we'll kind of give folks an overview of what they're missing. And you've spent a lot of time on the road, but I'll tell you what, the Renegades will be at home quite a bit in January, and you'd be remiss not to come see this team in the Gil Bishop Sports Center. Tickets are available at Valley Tix. They're fun to watch, from Jameek Revere's passing to the above the rim play. They're just an exciting team to watch. Coach Hughes and Coach Chavez have put a ton of work into this product, and you really ought to come out and support them. This Saturday will be your first chance. But last night, you opened conference against the Owls, and you are a guy that acknowledges a good team when he sees one, and you said they're a tough team to play on the road.
Well, they've always been good, and they've always caused us problems. So, you know, and especially the first game. And they hadn't played in about 3-4 weeks, so they had a lot of time to prep for us. With the rain yesterday and the travel, you just, you know, as a coach, you always worry. But our guys really responded. It started in warm-ups. Our warm-ups are really efficient. We went hard, and the start, we got off to a 10-0 start, which – you know, really was a difference in the game. I was just pleased with, you know, how we started and how we finished.
Now, Coach, that's been something that's been not a thorn in your side because, like you said, the team's won a dozen games. There's not been a lot that we've done wrong, but you and I did have a chance to talk before the game, and you said you really needed them to come out hot out of the gate. How did you get that point across to them? Because they answered with a vigor.
I don't know. They don't listen to me half the time, okay. I think. I don't know. You never know what motivates these guys, but you could see it in the warm-ups. They were just in their eye. You could tell that they were ready to go, and you know, as a coach, you're pleased with it. It's better to be like that than that to be I don't know how we're going to play tonight. They just it's the first game of conference, and they came ready to play, and that's the most important thing. And
do we need to start inventing stress? Because I'm starting to notice a pattern. We put a pounding on College of the Redwoods after they'd spent 6 hours in the van. And then, you know, we have the weather challenges, and that's not a joke. We've had some athletic teams get stranded in the last year and get caught in the weather because of the mudslides and stuff. So that was a real fear that you had. The Grapevine hasn't been real stable this season.
No, we had 3 things. I think I told someone yesterday. One, we needed 3 wins. 1, to get there, which we did. 2 was obviously win the game. And then 3, most importantly, we needed to get home. And we were able to do all 3. So we technically went 3-0 last night.
Well, that is awesome. Victories across the board. By the way, I ran an ad in the newspaper. This was a decision that I made. I always build our athletes and our coaches up maybe bigger than they are. And I did that with a guy who doesn't need any exaggeration. DeAndre Dixon is one of the most unique players and exciting players in the state. And I listed him in an ad as the state player of the year. But, Coach, that is not accurate. I made a mistake there.
You made a mistake. Everybody has turnovers, right? You
Yes.
know, but
okay.
When we have turnovers in practice, our guys go do mop-ups. So maybe we can have you do a mop-up this
all
week.
right.
But, yeah, no, he was the conference player of the year. I mean, he could have been state player of the year. I mean,
Sure.
he's that good. But, yeah, he was conference MVP. And, you know, he's a great player, but mistakes happen.
No, they absolutely do. And the guy, the bottom line is he was the conference player of the year, and he is having an excellent sophomore campaign. Talk about that a little bit, Coach. I mean, he hasn't had injuries. He's been –
Well, his last 4 games have just been unreal. Last night he got in foul trouble, and we had to sit him until last. it got close, got to 2 points, and we went with him, I think, 5 minutes to go, and he scored at least 8 to 10 down the stretch, made big-time plays for us and rebounds. He was obviously the difference maker last night. I mean, obviously it's a team game, but he made big-time plays when we needed it, which kind of separated us from them at the end of the game.
Absolutely. I was watching along with the live scoring, and if you were following us on Twitter, @GoGadesGo, I try to keep the livest relay of stats that I can get from a conference feed that I have that gives me just the score changes and a single line that will say, like, turnover, in the player's name, or foul shot, Dixon. And it was super exciting to watch the game unfold like that. I can't imagine what it was like to be there. And you've said that sometimes this team is a tough on the stomach team to coach, but that they're a lot of fun to watch.
Well, I don't think we played that great last night. We played in stretches. Our start was phenomenal, and then we were like on a bad roller coaster. I mean, we would do some great things, then we turned it over 20 times, and that's not our MO. I mean, we're usually around 12 turnovers a game, and we just had some unforced ones. So, we kept the lead the whole game, led start to finish. But, as a coach, you have to try to get them better. And one of the things that we needed to improve upon when we play them next time is less turnovers and more of a, I guess, a kid-friendly roller coaster where there's not so many ups and downs.
Right, because you definitely are not a passive coach, so you are like in the hottest seat on that roller coaster. I mean, you're getting thrown around, and it as you said, that might make it tough for you to coach at times, but it makes for a really fun viewing experience.
Well, yeah, we have some really good pieces. There's more, like Shane Christie had a big time dunk last night, and he had a coast to coast layup, rebound, coast-to-coast layup that was just phenomenal, and he does some incredible things. So we have got a lot of different guys that can that can make plays. But yeah, it can get a little unnerving at times, a little upset stomach. But we're 12-3, so you can't complain too much about that.
No, you can't, and I think that is probably the biggest difference last year from between this year and last year is that, man, you definitely have some depth. And like you said, they're exciting players like Christie, Pendleton, Jameek Riviera. Not that that's any big secret. I mean, he's one of the stars of the team. How good of a sophomore campaign is he having? He's leading the state in assists, as you pointed out to me yesterday. But he's not just leading the state in assists. He's a full assist per game ahead of the next guy in the line.
Well, I challenged him about 4 weeks ago, and I said, you could lead the state in assists with your ability, and he, ever since then, has just turned it on. He's had, I think, one night he had a 14 assist night, which I think is probably a school record. Last night, how many guys can you say he had a bad night? He had 20 points and 7 assists. And for him, he didn't really play as well as he could play, but he's bought into that assist. He's setting guys up, making it easy for a lot of our guys like Nick Velasquez. Obviously, DeAndre gets some from him as well, but he's played really well.
In talking about Jameek, if you have not seen him play and you've just read about the Renegades or you've heard us talk about him, he is not a big guy, but he plays an absolutely electrifying game. I think we have him listed at 5'7". That might be generous, but he does amazing things on the court. Art Tonin is here with us today. The throw from Brazil. And do you have players like Jameek down there in Brazil?
We have, but he's an exceptional guy, and what he does is crazy. And if I say that we have just in professional level.
Okay, so Jameek Riviera is a professional level player down in Brazil. How has this transition to the American game been? Is it different than the Brazilian game?
Sure, it's different. Here you have a game is more intense and faster, and you have to be stronger and more consistent. But just to be in practice with this guy like DeAndre and Jameek is excellent experience.
Oh, I absolutely believe that it is. They are among the best players that we have to offer here in California. That's for darn sure. How have you enjoyed coming to the United States? There's a lot of differences between here and Brazil, and one of them's in the steak. I know you guys have a big steak culture down there, right? You like to eat red meat.
Sure. The state I was born is very traditional with red meat,
Okay.
But I love America, if I can say that. I love to be here. Like, I love my country because my friends and my families are over there.
Sure.
But as a country, and you have a lot of opportunities here, like to study and to play. So I really like here.
Yeah, and that's something that our young people can never forget. Arthur comes from a land full of absolutely beautiful women and delicious steaks,
Sure.
but he went ahead and hit the road and came to the United States because of the opportunities we have. And hey, we're really happy to have you, and we're glad you're taking advantage of
Thank
those
you.
opportunities. Coach Hughes, this weekend we open conference play. Let's talk a little bit about Canyons and how we match up against them. Are they a good team?
Well, you're going to ask a coach that. Yes, I mean anybody we play in our conference is good. And I always will say it, and I'll defend it to anyone. Our conference is one of the toughest in the state of California, just because of the proximity of all those schools to Southern California. And no offense to Northern California or the Valley, but Southern California is probably, one of the top areas for basketball in the country. I mean, you talk about New York City, Chicago, Los Angeles. Those are all some of the best players come from. So we're playing, Canyons, West LA, Santa Monica, et cetera. They've got great players from great high schools. Canyons very well coached. Coach Fisher does a great job with his team. They're going to be a little bit more slower pace, which can be good for us with teams like that. They really don't have someone that can guard DeAndre, which helps us, having something that they're going to have to really figure out how they're going to stop him. But it'll be a good matchup. It's our first home game. Our guys are excited to be at home. We haven't been there since post Thanksgiving. So
Well, we miss you.
yeah, so
we're ready to watch some Renegade
we're ready to
basketball.
stop traveling,
Yeah.
and get at least a little home cooking, and it should be a good game.
Well, and speaking of home cooking, we're going to have snacks. We're setting up an environment that's going to be a lot of fun at the game. And the bottom line is the main attraction is really awesome. This Renegade basketball team is thrilling to watch. Like Coach Hughes said, you never know who's going to provide the highlight. We have a broad assortment of guys who are doing really amazing things, including Jameek Revere, who is, leading the state in assists by 1 over his next opponent. There's a bunch of guys with 6.2, 6.4, 6.7, and then there's Jameek with, I think, about 8, a little over 8.
8.2, something like that.
Yeah, about 8 and a quarter, I think.
Something like that.
But a full assist over the number 2 guy. And, Coach, I know you don't get into polls too much, but we're ranked number 16 right now. And you talked about how difficult the South is. And I don't think that can be understated. I mean, in our conference alone, we have one of the best teams in the state. And they are coming, I believe they're coming to Bakersfield this year, aren't they?
Yeah, in a couple weeks, Antelope Valley. We'll play them at home first, and then we play at their place the second round. They're, I don't know, number 1, number 2 in the state. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, they have a great record. They've only lost once. They've always been a team that's, I mean, they're the 2-time defending Western State Conference champions, so it's got to go through them. But our guys will. We just got to take care of game to game. Next opponent is Canyons. Make sure we take care of that and just kind of keep chipping away. And hopefully, if we meet them, we're both undefeated and be a great game.
Absolutely. Well, and we want you to come out. We want you to see that game. We're doing more to make the fan experience a little more comfortable. We're going to have some contests. We're going to give stuff away. I know Les Schwab is showing up, and we're doing some stuff at halftime with them. We're going to be giving away some gift certificates, and it's going to be a good night. And I know women's softball is coming out. They're going to set up their chili boat and hot dog stand, and with their soda and their candy. So it's an affordable night out, great entertainment, and it's always fun to watch a team with Bakersfield on the front of their jerseys stomp on some guys from out of town. Coach Hughes, thanks so much for coming in. Mr. Tondon, thank you so much for being here. We look forward to seeing more of you out on the court.
Sure.
Coming up next, we're going to check in with the chief statistician of Renegade Athletics, Steve Lynch. Plus, we've got Stieg Jantz coming up. Take a chance on Jantz. He's the Renegade Athletics academic advisor, and he's going to talk about some of the things young athletes are doing that are hamstringing their careers, and they've got nothing to do with the weight room or games. Stick around. Don't go anywhere. We've got more Renegade Report coming up.